Aloha! My name is Donnie and I live in Hawaii. I wanted to tell you a little bit about our beautiful colored sand beaches here on the Big Island. Going to the beach is a big thing in Hawaii because we are blessed not only with weather consistently gorgeous year-round, but also with numerous beautiful beaches on which to enjoy our golden days. Because our Big Island is geologically quite young and the landscape is immature, our beaches tend to be smaller than those on the older islands and are therefore all the more precious. What the Big Island has that some of the other islands lack, though, are beaches with spectacularly colored sand: white sand, black sand, green sand, and even gray sand. The creamy white sand beaches of picture postcards and Hapa Haole songs result from the accumulation of small particles of coral reef and crushed shellfish shells. As the reefs grow, wave and storm action work to break it into small pieces. Many fish, such as the parrotfish, munch the coral whole and spit out sand-sized particles. Other fish, such as the humuhumu nuku apula'a, swallow the coral and sand-sized pellets of sandy waste come out their other end. In this way, one coral-eating reef fish can produce up to a ton of white sand a year. Because our white sand beaches result from physical degradation of soft, biological material, the sand grains tend to have rounded edges. Thus, unlike sands derived from rock and mineral sources, such as the California beaches, they do not stack well, and our beaches tend to produce poor sand castles. Beautiful white sand beaches occur all over the Big Island, but are biggest and best developed on the Kona and Kohala coastlines, as coral reefs prosper best on the lee side of the island. Prime examples of white sand beaches include Enehuamalo, Hapuna, Wailea, and Maklevena beaches. Snorkeling at these white sand beaches is a joy. The water is a brilliant turquoise due to the amount of light reflected back into the water by the sandy shore bottom. However, this sandy bottom itself is relatively barren of life, so if seeing fish is your main snorkeling goal, be sure to choose a beach with a nearby reef, such as Wailea Beach, since the fish live in and around the reefs and rocky cliffs. Black sand beaches are strange and spectacular and, because of their thermal properties, are warm even on a chilly day. Oh yes, we do have chilly days here in Hawaii. In midwinter, temperatures can dip into the low 70s and even rarely the upper 60s. In fact, the black sand beaches of the Big Island are the choice among egg-laying female Hawaiian green sea turtles for laying their egg clutches on precisely because of their warmth. Black sand beaches result from a fiery, explosive mix of hot liquid lava entering the cold ocean. The skin of the lava stream is instantly chilled as it flows into the water, and then blasted off when the ocean water flashes to steam. Black sand also results from mechanical action during the natural physical erosion of the basalt. Basalt is the name of the rock our lava becomes once it cools. You'd think that sand forged in the volcano would be tough and enduring, but in truth it's very, very fragile. And black sand beaches do not last long over time. For this reason, although the sand is beautiful and rare, we ask you not to take any home with you. Black sand beaches occur all over our island. Two of the largest are on the north end of the island, crossing the mouths of Waipio and Pololu valleys respectively. These are not visited as often as some of the others, as both entail something of a hike down into the canyons. What once must have been a heart-achingly beautiful, large black sand beach fronts Hilo Town right on Hilo Day. But today much of it has been eroded, polluted, and degraded by industrial encroachment or simply paved over as a result of urbanization. By far the most popular black sand beach is at Punaluu. Not only is the beach lovely, inviting, and easily accessible, it's also almost guaranteed that the visitor will see Hawaiian green sea turtles basking on this beach. The newest and most vibrant black sand beach on the island is Kaimu Beach at the end of the Kalapana-Kapoho Road, near where the village of Kalapana was engulfed by the volcano a few years ago. Snorkeling at black sand beaches can be a dark and mysterious thing, as little light is reflected back into the water from the sandy bottom. But the bouldery nature of the off-beach seafloor assures the prospect of abundant life and many reef fish. Be aware, because black sand beaches mostly occur on the youngest and therefore most exposed portions of our island, many are characterized by big waves, strong currents, and nasty riptides. Swim only where you see others swimming, and only when a lifeguard is present. Wild, surreal, enchanting, The Big Island's green sand beaches are a rare geologic occurrence that appears in only a few choice spots on our island and almost nowhere else in the world. Although they take a little effort to get to, you should not travel all the way to Hawaii and not see these jewel-like beaches. The green sand is composed almost entirely of the mineral olivine, or peridot as the gem quality crystals are known. These crystals precipitate out of the molten lava while it sits in the magma chamber reservoir before it erupts onto the surface. The liquid lava is melted from rocks at great depth within the earth. The chemical composition of the melt is at equilibrium at extremely high pressures and temperatures. As the magma rises upward many miles through the Earth's crust, it cools and pressures decrease. This causes crystals to precipitate out of the melt. In magmas worldwide, olivine is almost always observed to precipitate out first. Hawaiian lavas migrate up to the surface so quickly and then are expelled from the magma chamber onto the surface so quickly that they have little time for many crystals to form. But when our lava does sit in a magma chamber a while, the olivine crystals do precipitate, and they slowly settle to the bottom of the melt. As liquid lava begins to erupt onto the surface, much of the olivine is left behind in the residual liquid. Thus, lavas erupted from the latest stages of these magma chambers sometimes are enriched with crystalline olivine. Since late-stage magmas are also relatively cooler and less fluid, their eruptions are more explosive and they tend to form more spatter cones than flows. Now the green sand beaches of the Big Island result where the ocean has breached one or another of these spatter cones and the winnowing action of the waves has washed away all the particles except for the relatively denser olivine grains. There are tiny green sand beaches all along the southern coastline on either side of South Point, but the largest and most accessible is Papkalea Beach at South Point, reached by a moderate hike of about 2¼ miles along the wild coastline northeast of South Point, following an old four-wheel drive 2-track. Once again, due to its rarity and the irreplaceable nature of this resource, we ask that you enjoy our green sand beaches, but don't take any sand home with you. Warm, comfortable, and inviting. Gray sand beaches result from the mixing of black sand particles and white sand particles along a stretch of beach, and as such are represented by a continuum of gray hues. In fact, many Big Island beaches probably fit more with the definition of gray sand beach than properly occupy either of the two distinct end member compositions, black sand or white sand beach. Ho'okena, Kahalu, and Honomalina are three of the largest and most popular gray sand beaches on the Big Island. There is one entirely unique beach, Ke'awe'iki, which today is dominantly a black sand beach, but the black sand has incompletely mixed with the older white sand on the southern portion of the beach, leaving a stretch of strange but oddly artistic piebald black and white sand. Well, that's about all I wanted to say about the colored sand beaches of Hawaii. Thank you for joining me. Aloha, and have a nice day at the beach.